So in our pain relief series, we're going to go over and talk a little bit about carpal tunnel syndrome and some of the distinctions I would make for people who are having hand, wrist, and arm pain. Many people are not having a clinical case of carpal tunnel syndrome. In my opinion, they're having some sort of musculoskeletal pain. It's referring pain into their hand and arm, and then we're going to slowly work on it. In Karina's case, I'm right here in this thumb pad, right in there. She's already given me a little bit of breath. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my fingers and kind of hook on either side right here. This is all completely in the flesh. I think right there. Karina, how's that? There we go. I can gently move her fingers around. The reason we talk about carpal tunnel syndrome is my experience as a massage therapist tells me that people will come in, they will say, I'm having carpal tunnel syndrome. What they really mean is I'm having pain. A syndrome is typically a connection of symptoms that we give a specific name, because when people go into the doctor, they want to have something. They don't want to be told, well, we don't know what's going on. So a syndrome, carpal tunnel syndrome, temporomandibular joint dysfunction, or temporomandibular syndrome, just a collection of symptoms. I'm going to work through this piece of Karina's hand. I'm also just tractioning the fingers, the thumb. I can work through the thenar eminence here. A lot of people are grasping and holding onto their mouse, under the keyboard. This is a right hand. Lord knows she's dealing with comments on Psychetruth videos, paying bills online, and answering countless emails. Right through there. How's that, Karina?
Feels good.
Yeah. So I just found a dense spot in her thenar, in her thumb pad, right over there. I'm going to give her a little bit of length. So it's like a pin and stretch through there. A little more challenging to see because of its location, but I'll see if I can turn just a little bit there. Not too much, Karina?
No, it feels amazing.
Yeah. A lot of people, even if they're not having hand pain, they're still going to have some tension through their hand and palm this way. Now, it was getting to be a little bit much on my thumb, so I'm going to switch my hands out. I'm going to go to this first dorsal interosseous. This guy over here is often really tight in people. I'm looking over at her ibrometer. Right in there. How's that, Karina? There we go. Not referring pain through your hand? Okay. No huge issues with that one. I'm going to come back in across this meaty junction between the thumb and the pointer finger. Both sides, same time. Right in there. Right there. Too much?
That's good.
Just at your edge, okay. I always check in like that. You know, as you work with people, the biggest deal as a therapist, as somebody working on somebody, giver, receiver, if you guys are doing this at home, just communicate with the person you're working on. It's never supposed to be painful, but it can be intense at times. I'm going to back off the hand. I'm going to give her a little length here on the fingers, just kind of tractioning and moving this. We're going to work up into the forearm, which I think is the real key for most people, particularly when it comes to typing and the work that we do. I'm going to bring Karina's arm just a little to the side, I want to put the radius and the ulna, these two arm bones. This is the ulna on the outside. This is the radius on the inside. The radius radiates over the ulna. I'm going to put these side by side because if I had her arm like this and I press down, what's happening is I'm pressing the radius and the ulna in towards each other. It's going to compress the carpal tunnel. What I'm trying to do is soften and relax and release the forearm extensors and then the flexors to kind of open this area up so it doesn't put so much pressure here. When I put her arm to the side, it means that the radius and ulna are side by side. Now, Karina, when I press through here, how's that? Okay. And as I go up towards the elbow, a little bit more tender in there maybe? Just a little? Okay. So I'm going to grab about a third of the way up. Normally this section down towards the wrist, you could work this, but I find I get a little bit more effectiveness starting here. And I'm going to apply some pressure big and broad with my palm. I'm going to stack my body weight so I can inchworm, snail, slide up the forearm. How's that right there, Karina? Is that too much? Okay. Is that better right there? I want to back off a little bit. Okay. I'm going to change my body position and put my knee up. I could put my hand on her thigh on the opposite side just to give me some balance there. How's that? Is that too much here? Okay. I lost just a little bit of my slide. I've got more of a downward pressure. I'm going to change the angle just a little bit to see if I can get that back. I prefer working without cream here because I can get good traction. How's that, Karina? There we go. So now I just have to stack my body in a way that feels comfortable, and I'm really snail, slug, slow, sliding up towards the elbow, right through the forearm extensors. The forearm extensors are often referring pain down into the hand and wrist, and people overwork these when they're typing, working at a computer. It's very common. So, Karina, from there, can you use this hand? Can you move your mouse for me? There you go. Then can you type for me? There. So, the reason I had her move her mouse is because her mouse is on her right side, typically for most right-handed people. She types, she's using these big forearm muscles to control her fingers. And I wanted her to access that because not only do I want to work on these issues, but I also want to make her aware of what she's doing that's causing some of that tension. As I get towards the elbow, I can feel that it gets a bit more tense there. Is that too much pressure, Karina? Okay. Feels really good. And that's really what I want from her. I'm going to change my position again and see if I can make myself comfortable. Still engage in that little bit of slide. There we go. I'm about halfway up the forearm now. I can literally sit here for 5 minutes, at least, maybe 10, just sliding up towards the elbow. This long, I've had people tell me they think it's a myofascial glide. I just know that it works when I hang out low and slow. I don't tend to use large, deep compression in the forearm extensors. I've had people do this to me on purpose where I was testing things out, and I developed a little bit of nerve issue in my right hand temporarily because I had somebody sit in this area. They were using their sit bone to press in here, and the pressure was so deep that I developed what they call honeymooner's palsy or Saturday night palsy, which is you put enough compressive force on the nerve, I couldn't open my hand. It was like the nerve just went dead for a day or two. So hand pressure, plenty of pressure right here. It's one of the few areas that I really recommend you use your hands. You don't need to use knees or feet necessarily in the forearm extensors. Now, in this case, I'm going to get a handshake grip with Karina here, and I'm going to passively pin and stretch these muscles. So I've still got pressure with my left palm, and I'm slowly going to lengthen and mobilize. I can feel that under my palm as I turn and twist her. I'm rolling the radius and ulna, rolling the radius out. Then I can lift and open her hand. This is opening the forearm flexors.
Feels so good.
And I'm going to lower her back down. Hand on the thigh again, just stacking my own body weight. Pressure's not too much. Okay, on either. Okay. And then slowly again. Maybe just a little boring for the camera. It doesn't look like we're doing a lot. How intense is it, Karina?
Feels so good.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's not the most aesthetically pleasing piece of my work from the outside, but very deeply effective. This is one area I just find a slide, for some reason, seems to access these muscles in a way that other stuff does not. I could hold on one spot, but it's just one area that I find this low and slow glide works better. The difference would be if I used cream and I slid, if I did Swedish, up again, up, up. I think that works as well, but it doesn't seem to get quite as deep to me, to the root of the issue. And I feel like once I'm trying to sink deeply, if I'm applying some sort of lubricant and I slide, it's like I'm having to work against the cream, which is why I prefer to do this with just natural skin oil. This real slow glide probably gets more intense towards the elbow, right, Karina? Okay, can you type for me again? Okay, can you move your mouse for me? There you go. Now, with your fingers, when you lift, can you really move them? Can you fan them out? What I tell my clients it's the yoga. You can lift and move and undulate through there any way you want. There you go.
Oh my God. Whoa. Feels so good.
So when I'm pressing here in the forearm, do you feel it down in your hand or wrist? Not really? Okay. She doesn't have any major hand problems. We talked about this before we started shooting the video, but I just wanted to find out. Some people will still get referred pain down into the area as you're stimulating nerves through there. You have the radial and the ulnar nerve that go down through the carpal tunnel. That's why we put the radius and ulna side by side. But I find lots of people are having musculoskeletal pain. It doesn't mean they have a clinical case of carpal tunnel. It doesn't mean they have to have surgery. They're having muscle pain. If we can address that muscle pain, what happens when your symptoms go away? That's what I tell clients. I'm a little bit closer to the elbow. I'm nearing the end, but I'm going to go slow here. Just ride this up to the junction with the elbow. It's probably very intense right there. How are we doing, Karina?
It's good.
Okay. My speed, my pace picked up a little bit towards the elbow as the shape changed. And then slowly I'm going to back off. And how did that feel, Karina?
Felt really good.
Really good? Okay. Can you move your arm around just for a second to see how it feels? There we go. Okay. Now, this was the forearm extensor side. These muscles extend the fingers, so when we're doing this and typing, these guys get used all the time. The forearm flexors are the ones who curl the hand in. To access that, I'm going to sit on the table. I'm going to use my thigh as a bolster here. Now, I can work on this junction down towards the wrist, but normally this thicker, meatier piece, you don't want to put pressure in the crook of the elbow right here. I think they call this the antecubital space. You want to put pressure in the forearm flexors. So I'm trying to find a spot where I can balance her arm on my thigh. I'm going to come in and apply pressure with my forearm. Now you'll notice I'm not using a pointy elbow. I'm actually coming in with a bigger, broader pressure. Right, how are we right there, Karina? Too much? Okay. I'm using my other hand to reinforce. Is that too much pressure? Do you want more than that? Okay, so slowly from here, can you open your hand out for me? There you go. Can you pull your hand back this way? Now open it out and then pull it back the other way. There you go. Lengthens the forearm flexors, kind of a pin and stretch. And then slowly you can let it close if you want. You can close into a fist and come back up. Or you can do what I call the yoga, which means you spiral out. You change the finger positioning any way you want. And let it rest. And I'm going to slowly take pressure off. You may have noticed, if you could see Karina's hand, that her hand turned very pink when I let pressure off. There's enough pressure through here that it forms a tourniquet effect on major arterial supply. So if you're having carpal tunnel, right? If you're having some issues in here, what it does is it's forcing blood down into this area when I let it off. It's just like a hose. You crimp it and then kind of flushes it out. How does it feel through your hand and arm at the moment?
Feels really good.
A little bit better? Yeah, well, like we weren't having problems initially, but it still feels more open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way more open.
Yeah, way more open. So I'm going to change your position again, just on my thigh here. We're going to go in for a second pass. I'm going to be a little bit closer to the crook of the elbow this time. See if I can get the angle just right. Right there. How's that? Too much?
Right on the head.
Okay, what if I give you that? Is that better? So I want you to notice when I took my hand and did this, that's sharper, right, Karina? That's stacking my radius and ulna up and down. If I turn like this, more gentle, because I broadened it. And then I'm going to broaden, and then I'm going to reinforce with my forearm here. How's that there, Karina? Now, what I don't tell clients is, wow, I just did it to myself too. This is cool. Now I can work on my own while how's that? Right in there. Now, you feel free, Karina, if you want to move your hand and fingers around at the wrist, because now I've kind of working on my hand while she works on hers. Is that too much there? Okay. See how pale my hands get, guys, right there? Is that too much, Karina? So, Karina, can you take your hand very slowly? Can you close into a fist and open it out? Can you open it out? And then close into a fist? Is it too much?
It's intense.
Okay, let me back off just a hair. Better? There you go.
Ooh.
Okay, so if you'll look at Karina's hand, I'm going to slowly release. And you're probably going to see it turns much more pink. Again, it's just that tourniquet effect through there. It's big, broad pressure. You can see just this little bit of therapeutic inflammation. Her skin turns just a little pink. And it did the same thing to me. You can see how red my palm is. I'm going to bring her down to the side and give just another option. I could come in right here with the palm. It's the same basic thing. I don't tend to slide as much on the inside. I'll tend to grab like the thickest piece right there. Karina, how's that? Okay. Not nearly as intense as before, right? But that was forearm and elbow. What I tend to do in session is minimize the use of my hands because we have to continue working on people. Hours and hours in my case. And then what about movement through there, Karina?
Feels really good.
Moving your fingers, hands is what I mean. There you go.
Feels less intense when I move my fingers.
Yeah. All different. I just embrace it. Allow them to move around. And again, the forearm flexors and the forearm extensors are big culprits in carpal tunnel syndrome. But in my case, what I'm saying about that carpal tunnel syndrome is it's often just musculoskeletal pain. There's a muscle in the forearm called pronator teres, which connects along the radius to the ulna. And its whole purpose is to roll the forearm in and close here. When we get to the top of the forearm flexors, we're actually working on pronator teres. I'm going to get a little bit closer. You can see I'm not in the elbow, but I'm closer.
Oh my God, it's so intense.
So intense, right there. Is that too much?
It's right on that.
So it's just a thumb. Now if I give you some pressure like that, is that better? Okay. Now, can you roll? There you go. Roll it open, now roll it closed.
Oh my gosh.
There you go. And roll it open again. When she lengthens the muscle is when she feels the most tenderness, right? Mm-hmm. She feels it up into her arms. Not uncommon. People will get various referred pain. Now I could decide to come out down with the forearm and elbow there, but I just wanted to use the thumb. Because we were getting so close into the elbow here, I just wanted to demonstrate. My thumb was there. I could move it over just a little bit again. We'll see if there's a big difference when I move it over about a ½ inch.
Whoa.
Too much?
Oh, it's right on the edge.
Okay, and can you roll the hand for me again? And just like before, it's more tender when you roll it open.
This time it's more tender rolling in.
Rolling in, okay. Little differences. In her case, I'm gonna back off, take some pressure off of my thumb. So we've worked a little bit of the hand, the forearm extensors and flexors. I'm gonna bring her arm out. I'm just gonna check. When you get to the humerus, this is a single bone, much like your femur. So I can grab the muscle, and I want to check the muscles over the shoulder joint. So I've got the tricep in the back, I've got the bicep in the front. I'm usually able to grab and sort of move these muscles around. A lot of people are going to have more tension to the inside, like over here. Checking these junctions. I can grab up into the tricep towards the shoulder. Yeah. And if I grab on the tricep side and the bicep side, you'll notice I'm still not in the elbow. Karina, do you like the pressure up towards the shoulder or down towards the elbow?
Down.
Down, she likes that. Now, would you have me twist you out laterally or medially? Okay, she likes the lateral right there.
Ooh.
Okay, right there. How's that? Okay. Now, can you bend your arm at the elbow? Just kind of, there you go. You can move it any direction you want, so long as you don't slap me. You have to add humor into your work when you do pain relief. The only reason I went into, massage and body work is it allows me a really open forum for stand-up comedy because nobody can really leave, So as I was working up the arm here, she liked traction. Now, what if my hands, Karina, if they spread or they press together? Which one do you prefer? The spreading or press together? Pressing together. I'm just giving her different options. I'm just grabbing skin. I'm working around muscle. We've not done anything that's hit like the ulnar nerve that makes that horrible pain when you hit your elbow and hit your funny bone. We're accessing something that feels intense, not painful. And I would typically in a full session work my way all the way up the arm because I'm essentially just working nerves that exit the neck, come down the arm, and usually people are having pain related to nerves. Nerve pain, that's what we work on. Even though I'm using muscle and tissue to access those nerves, primarily we just make skin contact. I'm going to slowly release the pressure there. And I'm just going to traction Karina's arm, just shake it out a little bit. How does that feel, Karina?
Really good.
Much better? Yeah, it wasn't painful before, right?
Right.
But now, how does it feel comparatively?
Really open and relaxed.
There you go. That's what we want. More open, more relaxed. If you have people in chronic pain, just go slow and communicate with them and follow along with us. You can watch our full series on pain relief on Amazon Prime and subscribe at Wellness Plus TV to see the entire series. Thank you so much for joining us today.
with hundreds of videos that you can stream on virtually any device to help you reduce stress, lose weight, or just improve your health and well-being overall. At wellnessplus.tv, we are dedicated to helping you on your health and wellness journey. Join wellnessplus.tv to find hundreds of videos to help you improve the health of your body and your mind. wellnessplus.tv. Get well, feel better.